Hey YouTube, you're gonna see an Open Great League team this afternoon that I used to get to I think my highest elo this season before I dropped in the Remix Cup. So I thought, like, you know what? I like the concept of the team that you're gonna see this afternoon. The team was Drapion, uh, Kanto Marowak, and Talonflame. So I'm like, I wonder if I can do some sort of variation of that in this league. So I'm like, okay, I was looking through the fires, and I kind of mentioned the other Glassy video that Typhlosion is a great Pokemon. So I was like, okay, let's use Typhlosion as the fire. And then I'm like, okay, if I want to use a poison, that would be double weak to ground. So I kind of have to modify that a bit. And so I chose amoongus because of that would neutralize the ground. And then I was looking at my ground Pokemon and I thought, maybe the best answer to, I already got two answers to grass on this team. Having a mud boy ground only with one weakness in grass is probably the best way to go. So, but that's how I put in Shadow Quagsire. And I did pretty well with this team. As you can see, back up a bit from what I dropped the other day. So let's look at the battles. Tough lead here into a fire. So I'll safe swap right into the ground. I never really ever say to do this. In fact, I would say don't do this. But I do get to a move here. Cacturn is very glassy, so I do grab one shield, assuming that they would assume that I'm going Stone Edge. So we get to the second Aqua Tail. This will probably still do it. Yeah, the Cacturn just so glassy. Now, where do I eat this? I assume I just eat this on Amoongus and try to shield. But I could just come in here, shield once, and incinerate. Yeah, that's fine too. Shield once, get that very valuable incinerate damage here. And it is Magcargo coming back in. So I go Thunder Punch because it is neutral. So we're going to chip here. And that is good chip, right? So I know they're going to go Rock Tomb. I'll probably shield and instant swap. Okay, so I am going to instant swap. And they give up into... is that the first? Is that what Cacturn is evolved from? The baby one? And anyways, they just let it go, which is an insane amount of damage. So that takes that out. Definitely a meme team coming in here. And 3 versus 5 turn move, huge here, allowing me to get to the foul play, which now means I'm going to win CMP here to take this out, but they also threw an extra incinerate, but that's fine. Winning there. Nidoqueen. I saw some like random Pokemon. I saw like a Noctowl. I saw Nidoqueen. So Nidoqueen on the lead here. Poison is neutral, right? I'm half grass. So here comes, I'm guessing, a Poison Fang. Do you remember the... I don't even know if I'll remember all the meta. I should one time just do like, this was the meta in this season. This was the meta in this season. Because I remember the Nidoqueen meta, the Lantern meta, the Noctowl meta, the Walrein meta, the Registeel meta. I remember all those just old school metas here. But Nidoqueen has not been relevant for a while since the Poison Fang got nerfed. And someone living in 2021 here, or whenever the meta was, maybe not that long ago. But coming out with a Medi, I will chip to now put this in Thunder Punch range. I don't really want to take a Psychic or Dynamic Puncher. I don't know what they could have. And I am worried about here, so I'm just going to throw this move to take them out. Still have a shield advantage because they burned both on Nidoqueen. If the Nidoqueen comes back in, how low is it going to be? So they do throw, which is okay because that Incinerate's going to go through and register and do a lot of damage. They do lower my defense, but it is an Umbreon in the back. And now having back-to-back Blast Burns, Shadow Typhlosion is not what you want to see. I don't care how bulky you are. Here comes two back-to-back Blast Burns. Goodbye, Umbreon. Instant swap here to take out the Nidoqueen. Okay, low kicks. Another not great lead. It's a dark Pokemon, so we're going to have to get out of that matchup. So I save swap into Typhlosion. And their best answer is a Ampharos. And they made a mistake. I know what they were thinking. But and they're probably like, why did that happen? So for those of you who do not know what just happened there, they were thinking, I've got to move perfect, but I don't want them to get a full Incinerate through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my Volt Switch and then throw my Charge move because it's a 4 versus 5 turn move. If I go 4, I'll be able to get off my Charge move because they're a 5 turn move. Unfortunately, that's not how the timing and the damage registration works on these Pokemon. Plus, it costs a turn to activate a charge move. So, when you throw I think they screwed this up from two faults. I'm like 90% sure it's this way, but please correct me if I'm wrong. The first part is, one, the incinerate doesn't register on 5; it registers on 4. So the incinerate damage that is done is going to register on 4, which is when your volt switch is just ending. So you're going to take that damage as your volt switch is ending. So that's why you got taken out there. And I'm almost positive that it also costs 1 turn to activate a charge move, which is why like in the mirror matches, you always have an opponent getting a charge move, like a fast move through it. If it's like a 3-turn versus a 3-turn and you throw a charge move, your opponent gets the 3-turn move because it basically costs 1 turn to activate a charge move. So even if we weren't 4 versus 5 and that incinerate registered on the 4 there, I think that would have cost 1 more to activate your charge move anyway, so I don't think they would have got it off, which is why they go down there, and they're probably just upset about that. So have back-to-back Thunder Punches here. They did not get an incinerate through there, so clear. Well, no, wait. Yeah, maybe they got 1 turn denied there. Yeah, if I do incinerate and Thunder Punch, they denied, yeah. So I got 2 there, and then I'm like, okay, let's just instant swap here. I'll shield 1. And the reason I know I can come in here is because I know I have a 2 shield advantage, and if low kicks comes in, which I expect, I have the Stone Edge, which will one-shot. Losing CMP, I know this thing has Trailblaze, so I will respect that. So we do CMP there. If I knew we were going to CMP, I probably would have farmed up a bit more here. So I can get off a Shadow Ball here. Aqua Tail here, but it looks like they needed 10 versus my 8 anyways, so... But see, 8 turns plus the 1 to register, I can get it off before they get to their charge move. So good league. Psychic, I've got Astonish. They go into Skeldurge. I have a Water. So far, so good. Can I take a Shadow Ball? Yes. Do I want to take a Shadow Ball? No. Obviously, with 3 Shadow Pokemon, you do add up on glass here. Typhlosion is where you generally want to save your shields for, but I figured if I can get alignment with my Astonish user on a Psychic, that's probably where I want to be. But I also assume they're not going to shield, which is why I just go Stone Edge, because why would you shield? The only win con is basically trying to 2-shield whatever's in the back here. So here comes an Aqua Tail. And they let it go. So I'm going instant. Unfortunate for them, they have a Corviknight. But the reason I went instant Typhlosion is because they've got to go instant back Pokemon and try and 2-shield. So I don't think they played it wrong. It's just kind of unlucky that I have a Fire Pokemon against their Steel Pokemon. I could live this, but it's going to hurt. And they get out into Primeape. So I'm going to chip. I don't have like a hard answer here, which is why I'm grabbing a shield. And I'm a poison, so I'm going to force them to like throw here. I can come in and do like a lot of incinerate damage, or I can try and get to the spam of the Aqua Tails. But I think I'm just going to try and get the incinerate damage, knowing I can get to the Thunder Punch on the next one. So they're going to have to shield or just go down here. They could have a move, so they may shield and try and get the move off. Or let it go, yeah. Either's, I think, kind of fine, depending what your priorities are on your end. And it's a Togetic. And they make a really nice catch on the Dusknoir. That's the only problem, right? If you're going to have an Incinerate user, it's a little easier to catch on. So they catch the move on their Pokemon. This will probably take me out. I'm hoping that I can get to a Thunder Punch to grab 1 more shield. But I cannot. They take me out here. But I did put them down to the yellow. And resisted mud shots are actually chipping enough. That's going to put this in Aqua Tail range. And yes, Quagsire did get nerfed, but still pacing at a 5-4 pace here. Here comes the first Aqua Tail. I got back-to-back, so it doesn't matter which one they let go. I'm going to get 1 off. They let the first one go, and I do take them out. Okay, Carbink. Okay-ish lead. My only concern is when you see a lead like Carbink, you have to know that they have an answer in the back to your ground Pokemon, right? So it's going to be a flyer or it's going to be like a grass. So something is in the back that's going to beat my quagsire, which makes this a little more important to fight for switch, because if I lose switch, I'm going to lose that. Unfortunately, because I remember this, that something is a Dragonite, and fire does not do well against Dragonite either. So coming in here to see if I can like grab shields, take this out with some Aqua Tail plus resisted Mud Shot. But unfortunately, that answer is a very, very strong Pokemon in Dragonite that beats both my back Pokemon very, very easily. And I did not know how much energy this thing had. But in the end, as you're going to see, it does not matter. These Dragon Breaths on a Shadow Dragonite absolutely deleting my Typhlosion. Incinerate's are resisted, so they're still chipping, but it is resisted, and that does not take out, which means they just commit to the Dragon Breath down to take me out. So Golbat, again, kind of a tough one. That's, it's kind of a little bit of a flaw in the team design on the having a grass and ground Pokemon, because you're going to be generally tough against flyers. I mean, you do have Stone Edge on Quagsire, so it's okay. Going Blast Burn here against the Marowak because, as you can see, Blast Burn from a Shadow Typhlosion does not care about your typing, so resisted Blast Burn almost takes out the Marowak. I can come in here and almost get the Mudshot down, but they do get off a move. That's fine. I think coming out with some energy is going to be beneficial for me here. And in the back is a Ninetales. So I thought they would respect the Stone Edge, but never bait, of course. So chip it to the yellow, which means I may grab a shield here. And they do, and they're running Charm, right? Which means it's a good matchup here. It's a Weather Ball and a Shadow, so I have to shield. Lots of Shadows. Like an insane amount of Shadows. I know I'm using a team of all Shadows, but my opponents seem to be using at least 1 to 2. Are Shadows? Are you guys noticing this, or is this just like a weird matchup like with the Remix Cup? There seems to be a lot of Shadows. There's also a lot of Ferrets, and I don't have a good answer for Ferret. So I come in here only to immediately realize, oh, this thing has Trailblaze. So I'm in huge trouble. Astonish resisted on amoongus. They have Trailblaze here. The Sucker Punch Swift combo would just like delete Typhlosion. So not delete it, but it would be really tough. I go down very fast with those two moves. So I'm already in like a big trouble here. So now took it to the 1 shield, but they're at least once boosted and maybe have a little bit of energy coming out of this so that they're going to be able to get to a move here before I even get to my move. Okay, it looks like I could have got to a move. Decided just to get to the extra Incinerate and just commit to the shield, feeling that energy would be valuable. Don't know what's in the back yet. Is a Molga. So I go Blast Burn here. I was hoping they would just like let it go. But yeah, why would you let go of Typhlosion? And unfortunately, they get a move to take me out. So lots of energy going down there, and it's a grass flyer in the back. So tough to try to overcome this. I think I'm starting to get sick. I can feel it in my throat when I'm talking. My son's stuffed up, and my daughter was coughing a lot. Feel it in my throat. It's the worst. Plus, I'm pumping out a bunch of videos too. That doesn't help talking. Dugong, terrible lead. Go straight Quagsire. You'll notice I go sometimes Quagsire safe swap, sometimes Dugong. Sometimes Typhlosion safe swap. There is no reason why I go between the two. Honestly, I don't know why I'm changing between the two. I think both are very, very risky safe swaps. I think Typhlosion's probably safer because if you get like a grass Pokemon, like if you get a grass Pokemon, Quagsire is just like drawing dead. Or is Typhlosion even like, again, I already kind of mentioned Blast Shadow, Typhlosion, Blast Burns do not care about your typings. So it's just going to do an insane amount of damage no matter what. Plus you have coverage for Thunder Punch, right? and a lot of the mud boys are banned. Although not all of them, clearly. And speaking of Typhlosion just dominating, the speed of this is fantastic. They're going to have to burn both shields, which just gives me my win con of shielding twice here, committing to the farm down, coming out with the move. And taking it in upcoming here. So there's the second one. And they come in kind of knowing what's going to happen. You may be asking why I'm not going for super effective Thunder Punch versus Blast Burn. Again, Blast Burn is a broken move, so I'm positive that a Blast Burn neutral does more than a super effective Thunder Punch. I would imagine, for sure, because the difference in raw damage is probably like 80-ish. So I imagine that the even super effective, even if you had 20%, it's not going to make up the difference just in the raw damage here. Yeah. So Thunder Punch is only 72 on the Shadow, and it's 158.4 for the Blast Burn. So you would need the super effective to do over 100%. Even if it did 100%, Blast Burn in neutral is still better than Thunder Punch. So that is why I always say you just need to know. You need to know like what moves can do that. I think like the Frenzy Plant Aerial Ace on Superior is another one. I think a neutral Frenzy Plant actually does more than a super effective Aerial Ace. So against like a Medi back in the day there, you would still want to throw Frenzy Plant over Aerial Ace. Or like a resisted Frenzy does more than a neutral Aerial Ace. Same thing. So those are the types of things that you just kind of need to know. And Blast Burn, Thunder Punch are the same. It's pretty straightforward. Like if you have a like a nuke of a move and like a quicker, not hard hitting move, it's almost always that way. Morpeko's the same way, right? A resisted Dark Aura Wheel is going to do more than a neutral Psychic Fangs. So there's a lot of sort of moves like that. And as we're sort of rounding out one more matchup after this, the amount of times I've seen Tank using Bulldoze is insanely high. I don't know if a content creator put it out or something, because that's not I don't think that's recommended moveset. I'll just confirm that. But like Bulldoze is not a good move. It gives you coverage. Like, do not get me wrong. It gives you coverage. But I'm just actually surprised that so many are using it. So where are you? Yeah, PV Poked, even the Great League Remix, the recommended is Heavy Slam, Play Rough. But a lot of people using Bulldoze. I get it. It gives you coverage. If you have a Fairy Fast move and a Fairy Charge move and a Steel Charge move, you have absolutely nothing for steals. So you're going to have a really rough time. So I get it. Just that 45 for 45 is such a nerf to that move. So it's 1 damage per energy, 45 energy, 45 damage, which is why even these super effective Bulldozes do not do much. Like, I think I took a Bulldoze on, I forget what Pokemon in what matchup, but I was like, oh, that's a nothing. And it's like, oh yeah, it's only 45 damage. Does lower your defense though. Anyways, spamminess of Typhlosion coming through here with the Thunder Punches. Typhlosion's kind of like a mental thing, because you're like, oh man, I'm so spammy with Typhlosion. It only takes 2 Incinerates. But it's still 10. It's still 10 energy. So like, there's so many Pokemon that can spam better than 10 and 8. Like the 8s of the Aqua Tails on Drapion. Even Crunch is 10. Hydro Cannon's 10. So you're still getting to these Thunder Punches at a rate that a lot of other Pokemon get to moves. But I think it's like the mental game of like, I only need 2 Incinerates to get to this move. That's crazy. Yes, but Incinerate is a 5-turn move. So, but yeah, it does have one of the best. I think it's the best energy damage combo of any fast move. But the drawback is it's 5 turns, right? So anyways, that is the Great League Remix team. Did well with it. Obviously, you have the issues of the the dragon in the back that I talked about and stuff like that. But it worked for me. And we'll now look at this afternoon. I'll post that Great League Open team that I used. Unless there's an event this weekend. So if there's no event this weekend, we'll look at that Great League Open team that I was talking about. If there is an event this weekend and it's Saturday, I will cover this first. There's so many events. Like there's like 6 events listed here that I haven't gone over yet. King Gambit, his big debut is Sunday, May 10th, so that's not for a while. Dynamax. See, here's the thing. I'm guessing it's the Dynamax. Oh no, Dynamax is next week. But like, I don't cover this stuff. Dynamax, Suicune Max Battle Weekends. Like, who cares? Mega Kangaskhan is probably this weekend. Yep, Saturday, May 3rd. But I'm not covering this. There's no way. Unless... No. Kangaskhan with Stomp. Let me just see what Kangaskhan's current moveset. I don't think it has any play. Kangaskhan with Stomp is ranked 383 in the Great League. You know, its stats are decent. 115, 112, 148. It has Mud Slap, but it's non-stab. That's the only problem. It's a normal typing. So it's you get the stab on Stomp, but even that's still not a good move. 40 for 66. And then you have what? Crunch and Mud Slap here? Yeah. Non-stab Mud Slap. And then non-stab Crunch, which is kind of limited. And then you even get stab Stomp, but it's not a great move. So not one worth looking at. Too many events, which Poke Daxi and I debate, which you will see on Wednesday. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.